Yo, what is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. In today's video, I've actually got a really exciting one, something that I stumbled upon where I was just kind of looking stuff up and just seeing, where kind of Smite came from, looking in the archives. I always think it's interesting to go back and look at scrapped items, scrapped consumables, gods, god kits, stuff like that. And I found a page on the Smite wiki that says scrapped god abilities, and it just has a massive set. It has 46 gods, and some of their abilities, some of them are more than one ability. It's 2, 3, 4 abilities that were scrapped either in a different iteration of the character or on the same iteration with just a different ability kind of in that spot of the old ability. Yeah. And what I kind of came up with is just 5 of my favorite things that I kind of want to see or wish we had. I think a few of the abilities that they went with, or a few characters that they went with, were / are fine, but they have some really interesting ideas in here that I almost wish that they tried. I don't know if it was because Unreal Engine 3 limitations, the balance limitations, or whatever it is, but I'm just going to show you guys my 5 favorites. I've also got 2 that are not going to be part of the 5 that are also being added in, so I guess 7 favorites, but it'll be a top 5 video because it's 5 makes more sense than 7. But there's 2 extras. You're welcome.
This guy stinks!
So jumping on the page, looking at it from the beginning, like I said, 46 gods and their abilities that have changed. I mean, from a few of them, a lot of changes. The first one I'll look at is Cerberus. And before even reading it, Cerberus's issue, in my opinion, was he's basically like an Ares. He is an alt that punishes you for not having beads. He is a really high damage dealing character. The difference is Ares does a little bit more damage, and then Cerb is a little bit more safe. Ares has a little bit more peel for his teammates. Cerb helps his team kill whoever he's hitting. But I think Cerb's kit is pretty boring. This one, though, sounded really exciting. So his first ability is Cerberus fires a projectile that passes through enemy minions and stops on the first enemy god. Targets hit are damaged, slowed, and trembled for the duration. Until another ability is used, his basic attacks apply a debuff that increases Cerberus's ability damage and lasts 1.25 seconds. A line ability that does damage that increases his next ability damage, which is cool, in my opinion. That's an interesting trading pattern that Cerb doesn't currently have. Cerb's current trading pattern is 2-1, auto, jump, auto, 2-1, jump, auto. I mean, I guess, yeah. Like, adding in, like, basic attack weaving, I think is interesting to a combo. Ghastly Breath is mostly the same. It's kind of like the left head slows the center, reduces protections, and the right increases cooldown times for abilities used. Being hit by one head deals 100%, 2 heads 170. So this one's kind of a combination of the 1 and the 2. This kind of got split up into becoming both of them. This is, I mean, a fine ability, but this isn't the exciting part. 3, Death Rattle. Cerberus leaps a short distance forward, dealing damage on impact and consuming the souls of enemy minions to heal himself if their health is below 20%. Until another ability is used, his basic attacks apply a dot upon a successful hit. He becomes kind of like an important auto attacker with his abilities, because until another ability is used, his basic attacks apply a dot. Same with this one. And then this one is his basic attacks apply a debuff that increases Cerberus's ability damage and lasts for a second, 1.25 seconds. So you'd probably use your 1 to start, auto, use your 2, auto to trade, maybe jump to heal and keep trading. And then you kind of just go back, and it kind of makes him like, there's not very many auto attack guardians, and this kind of makes him like an auto attack guardian, which is interesting. Ultimate Soul Expulsion. Cerberus rips the soul out of enemies in a cone in front of him, spawning a ghost version of each target hit. While desouled, enemies are slowed and take a percentage of all damage done to the soul. If an enemy is killed while their soul is removed, the duration of all remaining souls is increased by 1 second, and Cerberus gains increased power for 5 seconds. So this basically becomes like there's something where you rip the soul out and then you can do damage to that soul. I think it's a lead character. He like throws it out. If he grabs it, he pulls you back, and then he does damage to you. After doing research, it's a Lowy. It's a Lowy. I love a Lowy. Either way, I think this is interesting also because he becomes like this really interesting like combo support where you use your ult and then all of your abilities make your auto attacks do more, so you have consistent damage to hit the ghosts. And if you kill one of the ghosts or kill one of the enemies, the souls of the others last longer. I think this is interesting, and I think it's a lot more interesting than Cerberus's current version. I wish that they went with this one. And that's going to be me saying for a lot of these, is I almost wish that they went for the other one because I haven't played with it and it sounds exciting. But in the world, maybe they did try this one. It's broken, and I would be clamoring for the other kit if I went and saw this page in a different universe, whatever. Either way, I think this one sounds exciting. Next up, a little bit more simple, but I almost think this kit of Kronos would work better in the current game than Kronos' old one. It's very similar. It's just the 2-3 kind of splits. Passive Wheel of Time has the spinning wheel. Depending on the where the wheel is when activating Accelerate, it provides a different benefit to Kronos. So lifesteal, MP5, movement speed, and CC production. CC protection? That sounds weird. Crowd control reduction, and then magical power. His 2 is basically the same thing, except you don't get the access of the wheel. And then with the 3, this is where you get the wheel, but you also get the movement speed debuff while auto attacking. So he becomes a gas pedal god with his 3 and his 2, but you kind of want to combo them together. The interesting thing is clock tolls for these only a 2-second cooldown and you have 5 points into it. Yes, you don't have your CC of your 3, but this is really interesting. Really interesting. Like, oh, do I want like the lifesteal for this one? Do I want the extra movement speed to run somebody down and trade out my power? Do I want the extra power just so I can try to one-shot and get more of the magical contribution from your AP or your magical power? Is it better? Maybe. I think Kronos' 3 is probably his best ability, but this would be really fun to try. And this would make him like a true auto attacker, while Smite, currently he's like an auto attacker with abilities kind of built in. But this is interesting to me personally. And to no surprise, the next one we're going to is Ganesh. And I know what you're saying, Bobby, anything would be better for you than current Ganesh. And you're right. But I like his second ability, and I think it's a lot less frustrating than his current second ability. So Ganesh's old 2, I think, is a lot more frustrating, and I think this new iteration of the 2 is really interesting. But let's look at his 1 also. Ganesh speaks the cosmic syllable aloud, and the sound ripples out in front of him in a cone, damaging all enemies and healing him for 4 seconds for 30% of his lost health within the last 4 seconds. And his second ability is Ganesh rises into the lotus position, increasing his protections and marking himself allies in range to transfer 65% of the damage they take while marked to him. While in the lotus position, Ganesh may activate no other abilities or attacks, but he may use relics and items and suffer no backpedal or sidestep. So I think it becomes kind of like a combo character of using your 1 and then you use your 2 to heal up the damage you're taking from this, but you can't get bursted too quickly. And there is a threat of getting bursted too quickly because you're taking so much more damage from allies. It's almost like a compassion. And it seems like that's kind of where they got this. This is kind of a compassion, but I think this is a very interesting ability, a lot more than his 2, where it just goes Om and silences. The next one. This one is really cool to me. Hachiman. The passive, not really. Gains bonus physical power for each nearby god, max 3 stacks. I mean, he gets attack speed and mana in his current one, so it's like a side grade on that ability. His second ability, Hachiman assumes a defensive stance in anticipation of an enemy god's basic attack. While active, Hachiman ignores the next source of god damage, which triggers a spinning strike that reflects ranged basic attacks and knocks back enemies in range. When Hachiman leaves his stance, either from countering, timing out, or canceling, he gains attack speed. This is almost like the most insane 1v1 ability, but like you can play around it pretty easily because this is like a true counter in like a fighting video game. This is, I'm throwing my auto out, he instantly clicks his 2, assumes it, reflects it back. I don't know what it means by knocks back enemies in range. I don't know if it's like he knocks back the ranged basic attack, and if you're in range, like a melee range, he knocks you back also. And then when he leaves the stance, he gets attack speed. So he's like, you've activated my trap card. Ha! And then he gets extra attack speed. And then I think his new 3 would just be like a really cool ability compared to his current 3. Like, I think if almost they just switched to these 2, I think it would be cool. But Counter-Strike is so much cooler than Banner, whatever it's called. Hachiman rolls evasively, knocking up enemy gods. If he rolls in a forward direction, so if he rolls like this 180 degrees, he knocks up enemies at the end of his roll. So he dashes and then knocks up. Otherwise, he knocks up enemies first, then rolls away. And if he like goes backwards, like Rama rolls backwards, he'll like knock up and then evasively get out of there. I don't know. That just seems so much more cool than his current 3, which is just, oh, dash in, stun, dash out, stun. This is like dash in aggressively. You have like this OP knockup. If you dash away, you have like peel, get out. I think this is just a cool ability. And quickly, before we get to the final one, there's a couple that are just really cool, like one-off abilities that I just thought were really interesting. Izanami's ultimate, Drag to Yomi. Yomi is the land of the dead in Japanese culture, I think. Yes! Izanami issues a curse, pulling the first enemy god hit into the underworld, concealing their health from the enemies, allied gods, and vice versa. The enemy is unable to leave for 6 seconds. So basically, you just send forward this line ability. If it hits someone, it like drags them down. And then if Izanami dies while the ultimate is active, she will respawn inside the circle. While inside the circle, Izanami is CC immune. So she does that to you, pulls you down. she dies, she respawns inside the circle, and she's also becomes immune to CC. I don't know if this is like, you use it at like the last second to try to get like 5 seconds of auto attacking or something, or if it's like you literally just respawn. But the idea of something like this just sounds really cool. This iteration is probably super OP, but something like this I think would be really cool. Maybe this is like a problematic, but like a like slower moving line ability, maybe like your current 2. If it hits somebody and if the first person that it hits, it like drags them down, and then for like 4 seconds they just kind of disappear from a fight. I don't know. It's kind of like Haim. He sends himself forward and then he sends you into the cosmos. But I don't know. This is interesting. Maybe they could do something with this. Maybe this is like the 1v1 ability where drag to Yomi and then she goes down with you if it hits somebody, and then she 1v1s you and Yomi. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. One that I don't think should be in the game, but is still just really interesting to think about, is for Mercury. So his current Sonic Boom is a line ability that you charge up. Old Mercury, he selected a single visible enemy god on the map and sprints to that location at blinding speed, and gods are damaged and disoriented in his path. So basically it's like a teleport. Mercury got to literally teleport anywhere on the map to anyone instantly. Thank goodness this one didn't make it into the game. I just thought it was interesting, so I wanted to show you guys. And then lastly, this one's a very easy one because current Nox is fine. I have no qualms. She's a fine character, interesting enough. She plays differently than every other mage in the game, so it's cool. But guys, holy fuck, this would be so cool as a character. So Nox's ability, Nightgate, her number 1. Nox sends a wave of darkness out in front of her. Allies hit have their damage boosted while enemies take damage over time. So this is like a utility or damage. If you're in a good spot, you can, you know, do the damage yourself. If you're not in a good spot, or if your teammate is huge, you can like buff him to be insane, or line it up so it hits both instead of just like her current route. I think that's interesting. Shadow Step, Nox extends her shadow forward. If it hits a god, she leaps into their shadow. Allied gods get a temporary shield. Enemy gods are rooted and crippled. Before the duration expires, Nox may select a new god to travel to, but may not visit more than one enemy. Her 15-second dash, she has to bring herself through into a fight. She gives a shield to allies that she goes into, 10 to 30% of Nox's current health. So she can go like god to enemy to god to god to god, but it has to be within 3 seconds, so it's got to be like really, really quick. So in team fights, she would almost be like a, there's not like a single dash character like this that resets. It's almost like Old Rat. If you guys know Old Rat, he would like dash, 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 dash. But the best part comes with the combination of the ult and the 3. Nox explodes 3 times with dark energy, first slowing, then silencing, and finally stunning enemies around her. Each explosion also deals damage. Nox may use this ability while channeling Shadow Step. So, in theory, she could dash, slow, silence, dash, root, cripple, dash, stun. So she could literally just assault your entire backline with damage, silences, stuns, a cripple, and a root onto one. Bro, this character would be awesome. Would she probably be a little frustrating? Yeah, I don't know if she should be able to dash into 5 people. Maybe 30% of Nox's current health is also a little high. But bro, this character would be so insane. Like, something like this is awesome. And then there's not enough mage abilities that are like this, where it's like choose either your allies or the enemies, damage or utility. Most of the time it's just damage, CC. Very rarely are there even like utility abilities. It's like health 3, I guess, is an attack speed buff. Fafnir 2. Like, there's very few abilities that do that. Fafnir 2, I guess, is also gives him extra damage from his power. But either way, this Nox ability combination would be awesome. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys 5 really interesting kits that I've found. If you guys want to go through the page, it's scrapped god abilities on the Smite wiki. Go check it out. Let me know what you guys think about any of these abilities. Another one that I low-key liked that I was going to talk about was Cerberus, but there were so many different iterations of him that it was like kind of weird to talk about how it would work. Again, let me know, what was your guys' favorite old kit that you would like to bring back? Are any one of these ones that you're really interested in? Or is there anyone that you would just like to see in the current game over the current iteration? Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.